today. It's Relationship Unscripted with that dude, Coach Ken.
By now, many of you are already aware that we've launched our podcast. Super hyped about that. If you would have been on our email list as far as how we are notifying people, CoachKenPodcast@gmail.com, you would have already not only gotten notified that it's going to launch early, you also would have got a lot of small tidbits that we're not posting and that everybody else would have gotten. You also would have been getting along the way some tremendously helpful relationship advice that we just drop nuggets here or there. No particular schedule for that. When we have some good content or good information we feel that's going to help you elevate your relationship, we send it out. But it's only if you're on the mailing list. So, Coach Ken Podcast, CoachKennPodcast @gmail.com is how you get those good tidbits and tips to keep your relationship elevated. Now, the podcast is already launched. We've already started to upload content. This particular podcast was one that has already been released, but I wanted to send it back out there. This is me talking with my life coach, i.e. my wife, and she was dropping some jewels and some nuggets, and it was a very informative conversation. We got a lot of feedback about the conversation and how it has helped some people. So I wanted to re-release it, send it back out, because this is a very pure conversation that her and I are having. We did not rehearse. She did not know what I was going to ask. I did not know how she was going to respond. And so this is what you end up with. It's just a very pure conversation. Our hope in having the conversation is that what we are saying is going to help somebody elevate, heal, and grow their relationship. So, Relationship Unscripted, this is me, Coach Ken, that dude. Let's go.
It's the Relationship Unscripted podcast with that dude, Coach Ken. Let's get it.
Who better to help me kick off an intro to the podcast other than my coach, my wife? Those of you that have coached with me know I brought her up from time to time, and I oftentimes talk about our relationship and how proud I am of her and the woman she is and the woman that she's because of who she is, how she's helped me to grow and elevate. And she's here with us to help just kick off this podcast. Y'all make some noise for Coach Deanna. Deanna, say what's up to the people.
What's up to the people?
That's right. So, hey, here's the thing. I want to ask you a couple of questions and just, talk us both through just real briefly, just something you said earlier today that I found to be just absolutely astounding. And you were talking about how we all need to be just focused on our own thing and not be fearful of failure. Could you kind of lightly repeat that again for us, please? Because I want the listeners to hear this, because this is very interesting to me.
Interesting. Could you possibly give me a little bit more feedback on? I just want to make sure that I'm very exact. No, I'm not.
I think you're trying to get me to just pump you up a little bit more, but I'll give you that. All right,
Hey.
you my baby. I'll give you that.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Deanna has a tremendously creative mind. And so there are times where I don't know when she's getting ready to drop these jewels or these nuggets, but I get them all the time. And so she dropped one this morning, and she weaved into the conversation this podcast, how she saw me and her encouragement for me. And it meant the world to me to have her be able to say that unsolicited and unprompted. So that's more so what I'm leaning towards. Do you recall that? And can you bring all that back to the forefront for the people?
So I do recall a conversation that we had. And first of all, let me acknowledge the fact that you believe that I drop jewels and that you believe in me, period. It is important to note that my husband oftentimes, Coach Ken, or whatever title, oftentimes goes into this morphosis of preparation. Before he does anything, he has to check all the boxes and makes it pretty. I, on the other hand, just dive in, which is why I'm here, by the way. But in his process, what I realize is that we oftentimes engage fear in our creative processing. And I realized in my affirmation to him, however you want to see it, was that you can't F up. Like, this is you. This is your inspiration. It comes from within you. So don't move in fear, move in faith, move in power, move in knowing, allowing. And then when we do that, we are at a place where our creative juices fly. They expand. They hit the people where they need to. But when we put too much fear into anything, we hesitate. So I wanted to encourage him to move in his knowing, in the space that was inspired by him, through him. There you go.
All right. Now, sweetheart, I appreciate it. Now, here's the thing, you guys, I hope you wouldn't know about my wife, but of course I'm going to clue you in, is that she is wildly...
Campaign, I mean, is this am I running for office?
No, you're not.
Need to know.
No, you're not running for office.
But I do appreciate
I vote for you. I'm just saying, I'm trying to give you your flowers. It's all true. The beauty of it is I don't have to make it up, right? This is... If you spend 2 minutes around my wife, if you spend 2 minutes around her, you're going to understand just who she is and how she is. So with that being said, she oftentimes drops these nuggets, and they're just beautiful things. And I use our relationship when I am coaching other people, because although she's a coach and she has a tremendous mind of her own, I'm a coach and I've been doing this for quite some time. We want people to understand that regardless of what your profession is or what your title is, you still have to find yourself consistently elevating and growing, period. Doesn't matter what that might be or what that might look like. Now, let me ask you this question. As I said, I use our relationship in a lot of instances. Some I get the opportunity to share with you. Some it's just the opportunity doesn't present itself to share. I want to ask you openly in front of everyone, with everyone listening, what is it that you believe keeps our relationship in such a healthy place?
Independence.
Elaborate on that, please. What does independence mean?
Independence meaning that we're, why some people might think silos are a negative thing. Silos allow us to grow as individuals. And by growing as individuals, we get to be in our best place, not feeling the pressures and the need to be anything but ourselves. So there are times where you and I will be in the house and you'll be in your groove, in your space, and I'm in my space, and we'll start off the day having coffee, and I won't see you again until it's time to go to bed. And that is growth. But we have so much of content to discuss at the end of the day, and or not. But it allows us to expand, to encourage and empower each other in a way. And the only word that keeps coming up is independence. Okay. And that may sound odd to people because relationships are, to some people, codependence.
Agreed. So let me break this down to its finite detail. She got her own things that she do. I have my own things that I do. And we're both good with that, right? And again, I believe that it takes a strong level of trust to be able to be in a space where if she's gone and she leaves on Saturday morning to go do whatever stuff that she's doing, I am in 1,000% trust that whatever she's doing, she's out there repping our marriage to the fullest. Not even my concern as far as what might be or this or that. Or in short, for those that need it to be put this way, we do not have to be up under each other 24/7. We just don't need that. And I think, how do we get to that space?
It definitely took a lot of patience.
Agreed.
But I can recall a moment where I just asked myself, after many years of wanting people to change and asking someone to do this and do that and I need you to change. I need you to be more like this. And then one day I asked myself, why? Why?
What was the answer? Because we all want to know. We all on edge now. We want to know.
That's a good. Well, the answer was no.
No what?
I didn't need any of those things outside of me to be happy, to grow, to have joy, to have peace, all the things that as a human we seek to have. And I realized I didn't need it to come outside of me, but that I needed it internally, that it had to be from within. And at that point, I just stopped campaigning for the change.
Okay. Now, let me be very clear, because this is what I want people to grasp from that, or this is what I heard from that. And this is actually something I learned that she planted that seed, and it started to take root in me as well, which is your happiness is an inside job. And if you find yourself looking to something outside of you to make you happy, you are 1,000% going down a very dark path, because you're going to be looking for the rest of your life, because it's already in you. The reason you'll never find it is because it's not outside of you. It's inside of you. So how does that play out, that happiness, internal happiness that you're talking about? How does that play out in a relationship?
Ooh, well, of course, I'm not speaking for all, but I'm certainly want to speak for myself. It plays out in a way that, let me be clear. One of the things that in my self-awareness, if you will, my search for a better me, was that we love conditionally.
Okay.
Rewards and punishment.
Mm-hmm.
We learn that very, very early. I think the psychologists might say around the age of 2. Like as early as 2, we learn that if you display these behaviors, I will love you.
Okay. Now, let me ask you a question, because you said reward and punishment. So break that down. What does the reward and punishment? What are some of the rewards? What are some of the punishments in the situation that you're talking about?
In a toxic relationship might be that I'm going to withhold sex.
I'm going to withhold a good.
or I'm not, on the other side of that, a man might say, well, I'm not going to provide. I'm not going to, and let me be clear, I'm not saying that relationships are defined by sex.
Just examples. Female. Just examples.
But that there are things that we'll start withholding from each other. We can do emotional bullying, where we'll withhold a conversation. Sometimes if your boyfriend makes you mad, if she makes you mad, you may say, I'm not going to talk to her, because you know that that is important to her, and that somehow it may somehow validate her womanness, or and so you withhold it from her. And so those are rewards and punishments. That's conditional love.
So it sounds like when we find ourselves in this whole reward and punishment thing, just with listening to the things that you noted, we hold back the thing that we think we have the most power in that affects that other person. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I want to be clear. What she noted, that those doors swing both ways, because it could be a dude that holds back sex. It could be a female that says, well, I'm holding back the money, or all those doors swing both ways. So, Deanna, real quick, with the few minutes that we have left, talk about how we push through situations like that. What would you tell people?
Again, going through that self-awareness journey, it's being able to ask yourself, where did these belief systems come from? What are your belief systems, also, aka your egoic mind, is what guides us. It's what determines our decision making. And so when you can start self-mastery, awareness of what the egoic mind wants, then you can start to manage it. And so when you manage it internally, you then project what your new belief system is. And it's oftentimes more founded in unconditional love as opposed to conditional love.
Okay. We appreciate the nuggets that you dropping for us.
You're welcome.
And you know this ain't a paying gig, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Just making sure you know now.
I did sign the notification, the letter you sent me.
Okay. Appreciate that. Hey, y'all, I know y'all probably tripping right now, but it's business, right? It's business. It's business. Again, I want to send a shout out again to my coach, my wife, my best friend, Deanna, Coach Deanna. And again, if you want to reach out to her, just shoot her an email through the email address that I've sent out there. I put out there. You'll see it on our social media platforms. If you're not following us, please follow us. So therefore you can, keep abreast of what we're doing and all the good stuff that's happening. And we want you on our podcast. So when we post those podcast topics, you see something that you think you got something to say, you want to get it off your chest, we're going to let you do that on the podcast. So again, Relationship Unscripted. We'll check you later.
Ain't no doubt it's being told here today. It's Relationship Unscripted with that dude, Coach Ken. Coach Ken.